Time to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining our keynote webinar, framing a bit the vision of the Tableau vision of 2026. The goal today is to really look at where Tableau is heading for the coming year and what that means for you. It's valuable for you either if you come from a Salesforce world, if you're an organization that is very heavily reliant on Salesforce, or if you're looking at this from a purely BI enterprise analytics background. The goal is for you to give a bit of the vision how Tableau will feed into those two audiences. And also, this is going to be a bit of a conversation, not a keynote. I have Hera Blokhuis with me. We're going to go back and forth between the Salesforce vision and Tableau vision and what we see in the field. So up to introductions, I'll leave it to you first. Hera, welcome, and thanks for making the time here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and good day, good morning, everyone. My name is Hera Blokhuis. I'm responsible for Tableau and Analytics within Salesforce for Europe North, one of the 11 operating units. Europe North actually is the Benelux countries and the Nordics countries. That's more or less my role currently.
Okay, thank you for joining here. And myself, I am Geoffrey Smulders. I run Biztory. We're a European data consultancy, being heavily reliant on Tableau and Snowflake. And basically, we help organizations from activating their data from AI to the complete analytics modern data stack. And today we're here to talk about one of my favorite topics and close to my heart is where is Tableau going in the next few years. So what I wanted to talk a little bit about and have a bit of discussion with Heren about is that this is still a very applicable site in the today's organizations. We have the same challenge. We work in a certain area to the left side, whether that's Salesforce, whether you live in Teams or Slack, whether you're in Microsoft applications or Workday, SAP, it doesn't really matter. And mostly your insights live somewhere else to the right side. You have to switch to applications, you have to open up Tableau or another BI tool, and you're going to look at your insights. And then below that is your data silos, what we call your islands of trapped data. Basically, wonderful if you have something like Snowflake or another data warehouse like Databricks, doesn't really matter, but there's still roughly in an enterprise world, 1,000 applications that feed data, and you need to be able to access that data. In the past for Salesforce, that was more challenging. Of course, they had acquisition of MuleSoft where they could integrate data roughly everywhere, but it's still a big gap that we're facing. Here, there is a bit of a two-part story that comes in here to address this, but is this something you've also seen with Salesforce on the market?
Yeah, of course, and I've been working actually in this area for the last 20 years in data analytics, and I think we've been trying to solve the data issues probably 10, 15 years ago. We're trying to solve it now, and probably also in 10 years' time, we're still trying to solve the data issue because there's more volatility. Things are changing rapidly from the technology point of view, but also from the end user point of view. So actually, we're trying to do two things at Tableau and Salesforce. One actually is to drive the adoption. Giving people access to BI or dashboards doesn't mean they're using it every day. That's one. And secondly, we also want to make sure that we make sure they can take an action right in the flow of work when they have an access and get an important insights they want to action on. So for us, it's really about not collecting and storing the data in another data layer. It's more about how can we access the data without moving it preferably, and how can we really make it actionable. That's actually the key goal we're trying to do here, to make sure that we acknowledge the challenges every customer has now and will have in the future, and actually supply an additional layer without any overhead to make sure, again, we get more adoption throughout the organization for data-driven decisions, make sure that we actually get more actionability, more business value out of those decisions going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the key messages I think you'll see coming back here is that we've been in a past where we move data from left to right constantly. It's constant load on our servers, and I think that future is looking a bit different. So if you look at Tableau's vision, and some of you probably have heard of, yes, Tableau Next. Is this then the new BI tool? Is Tableau going away? And to be fair, there was some confusion in the past about that, but I feel lately working with Tableau very intensively, there's not a tool you have to select. Next is an evolution of Tableau, and there's one Tableau vision. It doesn't matter on which product of Tableau you are, everything is supported as one big interoperable platform. And again, we've been talking about two paths here. There's very Salesforce-centric teams, obviously very logical because Tableau is part of Salesforce and they need to cater that Salesforce market. But there's also a big market out there for Tableau, is the BI market, where they're still playing. So how does that roll up? So in my view, if you already live in Salesforce, there's Tableau Next that gives you faster time to value. It's going to be data 360 models out of the box with Tableau Next. So no need to define data models, no need to define everything up. Your analytics is going to be in the flow of work, completely embedded into Salesforce, and it's ready to scale across the whole organization. There's something about zero copy, which I'll come back to later, but it's important to know that Tableau Next is built on the Salesforce platform, but it's not required to run with Salesforce. It's a complete native platform, but it integrates deeply with Salesforce. On the other hand, there's, of course, and we have hundreds of customers ourselves with Biztory that use the Tableau foundation they already trust. What do we do? How does Tableau continue innovating with their Tableau product, and how does it work together with Tableau Next? Well, there's continued innovation coming. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It's ready for enterprise scale and governance. There's things like capacity-based pricing coming we're going to talk about. And there's flexible paths where you're either on Tableau Plus or on enterprise. The most important part is these two products live in one platform together. They're full interoperable. There's no need for complex migrations, no need for things to do. So here, why did Salesforce choose kind of this two-path strategic route? Why do you think this is important?
Yeah, so also going back to the previous slide we had around adoption. So Tableau Next is really here as another tool in the toolbox. It's not the toolbox, a new toolbox. We're not replacing anything. We're really looking how can we add additional capabilities. Like we moved from desktop to server to clouds, introducing polls a few years ago to actually have metrics. Also, Tableau Next is going to be the next tool in the toolbox to make sure we can drive more adoption across the organization. Fact is, actually, still in most enterprises, only 30% of people are using analytics. More dashboards will not only be enough, you need to also, again, put in different ways to work with them. And in the flow of work becomes a really important matter for us to make sure we can drive more adoption. That's one. Secondly, as a software industry, you probably have a pretty bad reputation, right, in forcing customers into migration paths, expensive upgrades. That's something we don't want to do this time. We really want to make sure that we respect all your investments made in the past, and where needed, complemented actually with additional capabilities. That's one. And look into those two buckets you created here. Actually, we have customers living in the Salesforce bucket. We have customers living in the Tableau bucket. And we also have customers living in both buckets. So we really want to have an approach where we can actually source and service all three of those customers in a cost-efficient way, where we really leverage what they already have and add additional value on top of it. So no forced migrations, no replacements of tools. Actually, funny enough, we still actually spend more development hours on Tableau Server and Cloud than currently on Tableau Next. As I think a great example that this is really not about replacing, but adding additional capabilities.
Lovely. Absolutely agree. And I think if I talk to Salesforce-centric teams myself, and I'll let you comment on this here, is the questions pop up is, where does Tableau Next fit into my Salesforce investment? There's a lot of Salesforce organizations that maybe are using another BI tool. So question is, where does it fit in my Salesforce investment? Do I still need a separate BI platform to do things outside of Salesforce? What if I already have Tableau, as you mentioned earlier here, and how does Tableau Next fit into this? And how do I get to insights faster without adding more tools? So here, any comments on these questions or things you hear that I haven't mentioned here?
Yeah, so the high-level answer is it depends. So that's always a difficult answer to give. But let me talk you through a few scenarios. Let's first set out that actually analytics or BI is not a one-size-fits-all, right? So we really need to think about, again, the adoption part. That's also the main reason why we moved away from only having dashboards to also having metrics, now actually also having embedded insights, where we call in the flow of work. So if you really are in Salesforce and you probably use that user interface 80 or 90% of your time every day, you probably don't want to go to an additional dashboard. You will probably want to get those relevant contextual KPIs in your flow of work. That's a case where probably Tableau Next fits perfectly into your Salesforce investment. I know we can do similar things with actually embedding standard Tableau into the Salesforce environment, but we feel going forward, Tableau Next is just a much better, tighter integration and gives you a much higher actionability part there, again, to drive the business value. So if we actually take Tableau Next as that key platform to make sure we infuse important KPIs in the flow of work, then there still is going to be a big need for enterprise-wide BI platforms. Let's say you're in a regulated industry, you need to talk to a regulator. You probably want to have some kind of dashboard or report you can actually subscribe. And that's a perfect use case to actually have a separate BI platform. And I would love everybody to go on Tableau, but I also understand there are more, let's say, vendors out there in the market. So on one hand, you can also say it's also a fit for purpose, right? You maybe want to have your Power BI or Looker platform and use your Tableau Next for your embedded insights, or want to have both. These are all the scenarios why I say it really, really depends on how things are going.
Yeah.
That being said, we really want to make sure that you can interoperably exchange data, information, semantic information. It's really about making a smart decision where we don't want to limit any of our customers in their situation. Again, long answer, it depends, but it's really about making sure that every tool is fit for purpose for a certain use case. And you can actually decide as a customer yourself which use case is most relevant for you, and then pick the tool we can actually supply to you.
Yeah, and this is what I'm telling customers. I believe that Tableau is one of the most open BI platforms out there as a whole platform. And that really puts us to the next slide. That how do this actually start looking at? Because I think Tableau is moving from a standalone BI tool to really a connected semantic and agentic analytics platform that is allowing you to do anything. So a few key changes is what Tableau Next is offering to the market is that they are moving from a data source level, as Tableau worked with separate data sources, to one semantic layer. So Tableau Next has their own shared semantic layer. Interesting to know is that the semantic layer also supports the open data interchange. So you can connect with other semantic layers and synchronize easily. It also is a big step for Salesforce to use this semantic layer because it also allows their agents to connect to that semantic layer and talk the same language. That's very important. So there's going to be trusted definitions across experience, and your traditional Tableau can also connect to the semantic layer. Even further, you can just republish data sources into the semantic layer without any complex migration work, and they're going to be in there and you can work on them easily. That's the interoperability we're talking about. Obviously, analytics in the flow of work becoming much more important. People live inside of Salesforce, work inside of Salesforce, do not want to exit the platform or sit in Slack or other platforms from the Salesforce ecosystem, and want to have those metrics available, that agentic experience available, a constant agent that is available for you to answer questions, but also to inspect data, to do alerting, everything that's possible. So the whole conversational and agentic experience has to be lowered and be very easy. And an important point to note here is that we're not only talking about your structured data within or outside of Salesforce, also unstructured data is becoming a commodity of the BI tool. So if you're going to have to connect to multiple PDF files or to internal wikis or SharePoints, that data can also be just leveraged by Tableau Next just to answer your questions on the go. So small questions can be answered, and analytics becomes into the flow and gives you context of what you're looking at inside of Salesforce. And obviously, we've been hammering on this interoperability. Data 360 comes out of the box standard with Tableau Next. So no heavy investment to be made. If you buy Tableau Next, you get Data 360 as a layer on top of that, which means it helps you connect to Salesforce and non-Salesforce data. Zero copy is an important move in the future that is absolutely working fantastically. So you don't have to start copying or pushing data into Salesforce. You enable zero copy with Data 360, and you connect the platforms like Snowflake, Databricks, SAP, Microsoft, doesn't matter. It all allows you to connect virtually to that data and have it leveraged by Tableau Next, which means you get now access to your full organization if you wish. Obviously, MCP is going to play a big part in this. MCP is the new protocol that allows agents to connect easily to systems, completely supported out of the box on Tableau Server, on Tableau Next, on Tableau itself. MCP has a big play. So there's one big Tableau platform, no migrations. I'll go to a question in a few here, but I think if you look at Tableau Next at a glance, it is completely a new platform. We're talking about the data layer, we're talking about the semantic layer that is in there, the visualization layer, and most importantly, the action layer that is allowing you to take actions in Salesforce or outside of Salesforce. And this is all run, of course, by Agentforce of Salesforce that comes out of the box with 3 kind of agents that allow you to help you. Data Pro is really to look at your data models, generate connections and models for your semantic layer supported by AI. Your concierge is allowing you to have conversational analytics, answer questions on the go, and generate Tableau visualizations on the spot that you can have insights and share with everybody. And Inspector, of course, looks at alerting, looks at data more thoroughly, and really helps you identify problems before they happen and informed. Lovely even that Tableau will release a private and public marketplace, which allows you to distribute your solutions externally, even make some money about it, but also internally for teams that allow you to work with. Any comments on this here, what you've seen that customers get excited about?
Yeah, so I think probably the hidden gem here is the semantic part. And I think we all know that semantics are not new, but they actually are currently having a revival. Probably Tableau has the richest amount of semantic content compared to any other analytics platform globally. You might remember published data sources, Geoffrey, as actually also being semantic content. And to show you actually how easy we can work together between platforms, we actually can automatically migrate those semantic content into our semantic layer. And again, semantic layers were used to be actually for the last mile. How can we actually transition that data into something the business user understands? And now actually we're using it to make sure that the agents understand from a business context what our users are asking the data to actually get an action on or an answer to. So semantics is really going to be key going forward. And as you said, right, we're the most open platform. We actually have the most richest API library available, all documented. We really want to push heavy on MCP to allow people to build their own agentic environments, but also leveraging what they can actually buy in the market and focus their development on which that makes them unique. That's really important to make sure that we have that part in there. And last but not least, indeed, we've seen it in Tableau Clouds. We have many, many apps built by our partners, really enriching what we're doing. And it's also going on the strategy going forward for Tableau Next to really leverage our ecosystem, leverage the data fam to make sure this becomes a success going forward. But again, semantics is on a revival. It actually goes from the last mile to a much lower place in the architecture. It's got to be fundamental. We don't believe actually that you're going to have one semantic layer. You're probably going to have one governance environment for your semantics, but semantics will live everywhere. So it's really about how can you build it once, use many, and govern it in one way you can actually really keep control over the semantic environment.
Yeah, absolutely does. And so how does that picture come together? I remember my data gap slide earlier. How we see it basically is that you're bridging that data to decision gap. So again, people work on different systems on the left side, but Tableau Next comes with Data 360, and that allows you to be the heart of your whole Salesforce ecosystem. So if you ignore the bottom of this picture for a little bit, whether it's Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Revenue Cloud, Sales Cloud, I've put a few on there. That is all connected to the ecosystem with standard data models. It is allowing you to connect with Tableau Next, is allowing you to connect with Agentforce and initiate workflows, update records, do automated processes out of your complete Tableau Next environment. Small example I always use, which is very powerful. You're looking at a marketing dashboard within Tableau Next. You see that some of the engagement with some customers is very high. You connect, you select those customers in your dashboard, and you create automatically a new marketing list to take an action on straight out of the box as an action from Tableau Next. So that kind of movement within the platform is happening by agents and is really supporting you in the flow. But more importantly, Data 360 is your central data foundation. So no more reason to be looking at complex integrations with Salesforce and pushing data inside Salesforce, because Data 360 allows you to connect zero copy to any system, any API, any organization structure, whether it's streaming data, unstructured data, or structured data, flowing that available into Data 360. So your Salesforce is now connected completely with your full ecosystem. And there's countless examples, I think, here where we heard about customers pushing certain pieces of data custom into objects in Salesforce. I think that time is not necessary anymore with this future product.
I agree. So it's really about taking away, acknowledging again that we always will have a data challenge, big or small or large, and really make sure that we take away the heavy lifting and make sure we get into actionability mode. That's one part. What I also really love is about, if you want to drive more actions, you first need to drive more adoption, right? And if you go to a restaurant and you're probably going to have like a 6-course meal, you're really going to treat yourself to a nice meal that evening. not only going to get a knife and a fork, you're actually going to get multiple pieces of cutlery. And that's the same when we look at the current tech stack from analytics from Salesforce and Tableau. It is really a big toolbox where we actually want to make sure things are fit for purpose to drive more adoption across the whole organization, and then driving that data to decision gap to really make sure we drive business value across all departments, across all the employees in your organization.
Yep, absolutely agree. So moving forward, this is not something that is coming in a few months. This is generally available. I'm going to go a bit quicker because we have to be sake of time here, but it's important to know is that today, if you're Salesforce-centric teams and you're using one of these things, there's a little typo in here, my apologies. If it's Service Insights, Sales Insights, Agentforce, Sales Cloud, Marketing Cloud, Revenue Cloud, these products come with Tableau Next out of the box, generally available now today. You get not only the models, you get the metrics, you get the dashboards inside of those applications. It's ready out of the box, and you're just ready to go with Tableau Next. So, and there's of course additional industries coming. Tableau and Salesforce are working very hard to put Tableau Next in every product that they have, and have already metrics running out of the box, and then you can start building custom on your whole ecosystem. Also, most important is the pricing, because pricing is something that was discussable last year. Tableau Next came with the Data 360 consumption model. I think they've completely thrown this around. Apologies, this is still dollar pricing, where you can calculate what this cost is to you. But it comes down to this. There is no more complex calculation. There is no more consumption. Tableau Next comes with Data 360 out of the box and charges for a consumer $40 per user per month, and for a creator $150 per user per month. What does this mean? It means that you can start working with Tableau Next at these prices, and you can have your Data 360 included that allows you to connect to Salesforce data, non-Salesforce data, zero copy, streaming data, unstructured data. It's all going to be outside and inside. A consumer can work with dashboards and metrics, can ask questions to Agentforce Concierge, can really have that in the flow work there being created. And of course, the creators are the ones that can create dashboards and experiences and metrics and configure the Agentforce experience. If you're already on CRMA, there is going to be a potential to do a small uplift and include Tableau Next in your CRMA renewals. Again, interoperability. CRMA and Tableau Next will work fantastic together. We'll be able to connect to the semantic layer and will not have you build everything from scratch again. Any comments on this from you, Hare?
Yeah, again, it's great to actually now have a standalone Tableau Next SKU. This is really unique for this year. We also acknowledge actually that if you look to analytics, you have so many different types of users in your organization with a different consumption pattern. It becomes very complex to actually calculate the exact consumption for your organization. That's why we moved to actually an unmetered environment where you actually don't need to worry about how much consumption you will drive, because you probably can't know upfront, and really making it easy for us to make sure that we isolate any financial risk for our customers.
Yeah, absolutely do. So switching gears a little bit, what has happened with Tableau for the enterprise analytics teams? And we're looking at customers have been loyal customers for us with years, have been working with Tableau for many years. Maybe they are Salesforce-centric, maybe they are not Salesforce-centric, and they want to understand what they need to do with Tableau. Do they have to invest in Tableau Next? Do they need to invest in an upgrade? And is Tableau Next capable of running separately? Well, absolutely yes. A few questions I hear today of the Tableau customers is, first of all, how do I scale Tableau across my organization without exploding my budget? That's a big topic. If I would upgrade to Tableau Plus, which includes Tableau Next inside of the license, then what happens to my existing dashboards and data source? Do I have to rebuild? Another one is, should I bet on Tableau Cloud, or can I still be using Tableau Server and be supported for many years? And how do I keep governance while giving users more freedom? So those are the questions on top of mind. Heren, do you have anything to add here?
Yeah, key again, we're not replacing anything with Tableau Next. We're actually adding another tool to the toolbox. We'll continue to invest in Tableau Server and Cloud. We're also going to release some new commercial, constructions later in the year for Tableau Cloud to make sure it becomes more fit for purpose in certain cases. Again, depending on your scenario. And Server, don't forget, we still have a lot of customers on Server, and we'll continue to innovate actually on Server. We will also bring more AI capabilities towards the Server, because again, even nowadays, I think there are more and more reasons to actually keep your on-prem environment for certain use cases.
Absolutely.
So again, I think there's a lot of options. And it's also about engaging with us to make sure we can get you to the right scenario which fits your needs.
Yeah, that's correct. And how do we see that Tableau is evolving? I think it's still the most complete platform out there, and I'll share a few reasons why I think about that. So again, data connectivity. Tableau will still use the trusted published data sources and state data sources, but the semantic layer is also supported. No problem there. There's also, I think, that openness of the platform. For example, deep integration with DBT, Databricks, Snowflake, and others is really not just about, hey, we work with the platform, but in Databricks and Snowflake and DBT, you have the possibility to just click Explore in Tableau, and a Tableau window will open. So again, staying in the flow of work, staying in the platform you are. If you're a data engineer that loves to live in Databricks, no problem. You can explore some of these things in Tableau straight out of Databricks. You don't have to go to another platform. That's the deep integration they're looking into. And classic Tableau can connect to any foundation you want. If you look at the question of server of cloud, Tableau server got absolute support from the Tableau teams to keep innovating. They will bring AI features and upgrades, I'll tell a bit more about that later, to the platform. Conversational analytics will become out of the box, with or without MCP. I think it's important that that conversational analytics trend is coming, and Tableau will allow you to work at unstructured data and structured data on top of Tableau. And of course, constant innovation keeps on coming with quarterly releases, whether it's something simple as rounded corners in desktop, whether it's now they're releasing desktop for free, where you can connect to any data, but you cannot share to server, but you can share to public. Tableau is constantly pushing that needle to really have that adoption. And it's flexible and future-proof. What we see is that Tableau is one of the most mature, here I already mentioned it, and documented APIs that allow you to do virtually anything with Tableau. We've seen it at Biztory. Our developers, regular speakers at Tableau conferences, really do amazing things with Tableau because the APIs are just so rich, and there's not a lot of BI platforms that allow you to do that. There's strong embedding capabilities with Next or with what we call that classic Tableau, and obviously the support of MCP, which we've deployed at a few customers already, is allowing to do amazing things and just enable Tableau and on the agentic in a very simple way. Actionability comes out of the box, whether it's with Next or with classic Tableau, we can do that. And again, there's one Tableau platform. Cloud capacity-based licensing is also something that's coming, which allows wall-to-wall deployments. And I think if I look at that bridge again, and I'm going to let you comment on this here, I think it's the same kind of connectivity, but for an enterprise analytics teams that is not per se on Salesforce, they look at it a different way. They want a platform that can do connections to anything. And then again, your data lives in, obviously, various data lakes or in various systems. Tableau sits at the center of this and can connect to all those systems. Whether it's unstructured or structured, it allows you to still build those beautiful Tableau dashboards that we're very known for. It allows you to build pulse metric styles. It has Tableau prep out of the box for maybe some preparation data. There's data governance out of the box. There's integration with data governance platforms like Colibra, Atlan out of the box that works very beautifully. And whatever it means from pipelines from DBT or custom APIs, or MCP, or structured or unstructured data, it allows you just to have that shared across all your teams and have it available. So there's insights available for every team. There's Tableau Pulse, there's self-service dashboards, there's enterprise security grade availability, and with Tableau Semantics also being available on Tableau, your Tableau agents, your Tableau Pulse, your MCP innovations are available. So do you want to stay on Tableau Enterprise today? No problem, there's a future for you. Do you want to add Next as a toolbox, as Hera said, with Tableau Plus? Also no problem, they will work together. Any comments from you, Hera, on this?
Yeah, we're short on time, but let's say BI means business insights. So we've always been the king of insights in organizations. We're now really trying to push more with adoptions, with more tools in the toolbox. And last but not least, really get to the actionability layer where you can actually one click of a button, get your decision into an operational action to drive a business value for your customers. That's, I think, the key thing we're trying to achieve with the broader capabilities of Tableau Analytics going forward.
Yeah, I realize we're out of time. I'm just going to ask you all for stay a couple of minutes, and we're going to finish up soon. So most importantly, conversational analytics are coming to Tableau Server and Tableau Cloud this year. Understanding your data faster, ask natural query language, that will be improved much heavier. But most importantly, Tableau Server improvements is coming with Tableau Agent in Server, Visual Data Service. API is coming. Tableau MCP support for Tableau Server is coming soon because it's March FY27, which is this year for Salesforce. And importantly for Tableau Cloud, dashboard narratives, understanding context with an LLM on what you're seeing on a dashboard, more enhanced Pulse Q&A, more Tableau Cloud regions. But most importantly, what is coming this year is capacity-based pricing, which allows you to run Tableau Cloud on a different way with capacity-based pricing, which I think is a big move because then you can go wall to wall for your whole organization. Everybody gets a Tableau user, no more thinking about named user models, but really switching to a capacity model, which allows you to deploy Tableau at scale in your organization and create adoption. So that being said, I think we're close to finishing this up. Any final thoughts from you here before I wrap up?
Yeah, so I think we're in a new hype cycle, right? We probably had a very big hype cycle 10, 15 years ago, where probably also Tableau was leading the pack. I feel very confident we're going to lead the pack or are leading the pack again on the whole Agentic Analytics journey, again, adding more tools to the toolbox, not replacing anything. It doesn't make things simpler. So I just want to say, if you want to have a deeper discussion on your scenario, because it all depends, don't hesitate to reach out to either Biztory or to us to make sure we get that conversation going and get to advice which really fits your scenario.
Okay. Well, thank you, Hera, for joining me. And again, before we close, of course, we do all our webinars at Biztory. So if you want to join one of these future webinars where we're going to talk about AI activation strategies or data stacks or orchestration or end-to-end modern BI, please scan or register here or go to our website and you'll find much more to see there. And I think if you're ready to accelerate with us, if you're ready to move forward, I think there's different accelerators we have available on our website to really help you with Tableau Next and to move in a very structured way to see how we can move forward. And then I want to thank you for your attention, and I hope to see you soon again. Thank you very much.